The Golden Gate Bridge is one of the most famous bridges in the world. It is that giant, bright orange bridge stretching across the water in San Francisco, California. Long ago, engineers had to figure out how to build something so big, strong, and beautiful. Let's dive into the story of how the Golden Gate Bridge was built. The problem: getting across the water. In the early 1900s, people in San Francisco had a problem. The city was growing, and there was no easy way to cross the water between San Francisco and Marin County. Back then, if you wanted to get to the other side, you had to take a ferry. Ferries were slow, and they couldn't carry enough people or cars. The city needed something faster and bigger, like a bridge. But many people said it was impossible to build a bridge. The water was deep, the fog was thick, and the wind and waves were fierce. The big idea: a suspension bridge. Then came an engineer named Joseph Strauss. He believed that a bridge across the Golden Gate could be built. In 1919, he made a plan. His first design was not very pretty. It looked like a big, clunky structure. But he was determined. Joseph Strauss was not alone. He had a team of smart people. One of them was Leon Mosafe, who knew a lot about suspension bridges. He helped change the design to make it look more beautiful. Another was Irving Morrow, an architect who had a great idea: to paint the bridge an orange-red color, which would make it stand out in the thick fog and match the landscape. People loved this idea. A suspension bridge is a special kind of bridge that hangs from giant cables. These cables are held up by tall towers. The design is great for long bridges, which made it perfect for the Golden Gate Strait. At first, people didn't believe Strauss's idea would work. Some even said the bridge would fall down in the wind. But Strauss didn't give up. He had to convince people that it was possible. But before they could build the bridge, they needed money. The Great Depression had started, and people were struggling. No one wanted to spend money on a giant bridge. Joseph Strauss and his team worked hard to raise money. Finally, they got funding in 1932, and the work began. Step 1: designing the bridge. The engineers spent years designing the bridge. They had to make sure it would be strong enough to handle the tough conditions. The Golden Gate Strait has strong currents. The water moves very fast. Deep water. The bottom of the strait is about 377 feet down. Windy weather. The winds can blow over 60 miles per hour. Earthquakes. San Francisco is near a big fault line, so the bridge had to survive shaking. Step 2: building the bridge. Construction of the Golden Gate Bridge started during the Great Depression. This was a tough time in America, when many people didn't have jobs. Building the bridge gave thousands of people work, which helped their families. Here's how they built the bridge, step by step. 1. Building the towers. The first step was to build the two massive towers that held up the bridge. These towers are 746 feet tall, about the height of a 65-story building. Building the bridge was dangerous. The Golden Gate Strait had strong tides and deep waters. The workers had to dig deep into the ocean floor to place the foundation. To do this, they built platforms in the water and pumped the water out so they could work. Some of them worked in huge metal containers called caissons, which were lowered into the water. Inside, they had to dig while fighting the air pressure and the cold. 2. Spinning the cables. Next came the cables, which are the ropes that hold the bridge up. These cables had to be strong enough to hold up the entire bridge. Each cable is made of thousands of smaller steel wires. These wires were spun back and forth across the strait until the cables were thick and strong. It took more than 80,000 miles of wire to make the two main cables. If you stretched those wires out, they could wrap around the Earth 3 times. 3. Building the roadway. Once the cables were in place, workers built the roadway that cars would drive on. The roadway was hung in smaller sections at a time. Cranes lifted the sections up, and workers attached them to the cables. Imagine being one of those workers, hundreds of feet above the water, balancing on steel beams while the wind whipped around you. It was a dangerous job, but the workers were brave and skilled. Step 3. Safety first. Building the bridge was dangerous, but Joseph Strauss cared about his workers' safety. He made sure they had hard hats, which was unusual at the time. He also installed a giant safety net under the bridge to catch workers if they fell. The safety net saved 19 lives. These men called themselves the Halfway to Hell Club because the net kept them from falling all the way into the water. But not everyone was so lucky. In 1937, part of the net broke, and 10 men fell into the water and lost their lives. Despite the dangers, the workers kept going. Step 4. The grand opening. After 4 years of hard work, the Golden Gate Bridge was finished in 1937. It was the longest and tallest suspension bridge in the world at the time. The total length is about 1.7 miles, and the distance between the two towers is 4,200 feet. Before cars were allowed to cross, the city held a celebration. On May 27, 1937, thousands of people came walking, running, and even dancing on the bridge. The next day, it officially opened to vehicles, and the bridge became a symbol of San Francisco. Why the Golden Gate Bridge is special. The Golden Gate Bridge isn't just a way to get from one place to another. It's a symbol of human creativity and determination. Here are some interesting facts. It weighs about 887,000 tons. More than 100,000 cars cross it every day. Its unique color is called international orange, and it's painted continuously to protect the steel from rust. It's been featured in movies, books, and photos all around the world. A lasting legacy. The Golden Gate Bridge was once called the bridge that couldn't be built. But Joseph Strauss and his team proved that nothing is impossible with hard work and determination. Today, the bridge still stands strong, carrying millions of people every year. It reminds us that even the biggest challenges can be overcome with hard work, smart ideas, and teamwork. The next time you see a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge or visit it in person, remember the incredible story of how it was built. It's more than just a bridge, it's a monument to human achievement.
Question 1. How did people usually get across the strait before the bridge was built? A. By driving their car. B. By taking a ferry. C. By an airplane. Question 2. What is unique about a suspension bridge? A. It is supported by stone slabs laid across the water. B. It uses arches to transfer the weight of the bridge to its supports. C. It hangs from giant cables that are supported by towers. Question 3. Why did engineers choose a suspension bridge for the San Francisco Strait? A. It was more suitable for long distances. B. It was simple to build. C. It was suitable for mountainous areas. Question 4. What year did the bridge construction begin? A. 1937. B. 1932. C. 1919. Question 5. What was the purpose of the safety net? A. To catch workers when they fell. B. To help support the bridge structure. C. To keep the water out of the bridge. Question 6. What was the Great Depression in America? A. A time of a major world war. B. A time when alcohol sales were banned. C. A time of severe economic downturn following the stock market crash of 1929. Question 7. What are caissons? A. Giant towers supporting the weight of the bridge. B. Huge metal containers keeping workers dry inside. C. The main cables that held up the bridge. Question 8. What name was given to the color of the bridge? A. Orange-red. B. Internal orange. C. International orange. Question 9. How many massive towers were used to hold up the bridge? A. 2. B. 3. C. None. Question 10. The Golden Gate Bridge was once called what? A. The bridge that shouldn't be built. B. The bridge that couldn't be built. C. The Great Depression Bridge.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.